Hey there, YouTubers. Well, today we start talk about what the Packers are going to have to do to beat the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears are, 3-win team. However, they took the Lions down to the wire. So it's a little bit of an enigmatic team. We're going to break it down a little bit. And of course, we've got to talk about the weather because it is going to be a cold one. So I hope you'll join us today for Good Packer Nation Morning. Good Packer Nation morning, everybody. It is Thursday. We are rolling toward a weekend. Football tonight, it's starting to get good. And coming off a big Packer win against the Seattle Seahawks, and I mean big, right? It's not looking so bad right now. Here, it's cold. Chicago, it's cold. Here, the sun is shining. Sunday afternoon may not be the case. I know in the locker room interview. The Packers look to tie this series up, and does that matter? Well, heck yes, it matters. We should have been able to do it when Brett Favre had his number unveiled, or number retired. We should have been able to do it then. We weren't able to get it done that Thanksgiving. That was a bad freaking day. Now the Packers, we've got everything on the line. We've got to travel to Soldier Field. It's going to be freakishly cold. It may be the coldest game ever at Soldier Field right now. And the Packers need to get it done because we are continuing to have to run the table. Looking at the possibility that the Lions very likely will drop one this week, this game against the Bears is absolutely critical. Hey there, Corey, Keegan, Max, Andrew, Alfie, and Anthony are on. Good to see you guys. Felton is back. Says good morning to everybody. Mark from New York, it's 5 degrees there. How about this? Anybody got any feelings for this cold weather game and a little chance to give lay a little smack on the Bears come Sunday? Willie, what do you think? Candy, you think so? I am ready for cold weather. I would go to that game if I had a chance. We have a guy that has a couple tickets for basically the season ticket price, 2 tickets for $190. Message me. I've got it. They haven't been sold yet, so not so far. So Max is here, Mike is here, Trent is here, Chris, Kirk, and Lassie is here as well, along with Stacy from frigid Wisconsin. And yes, it turned. I left Wisconsin and it was beautiful. Like it was in the teens. I'm sure the wind chill brought it maybe close to 0 at times, but the wind had died down. The snow was dry. It was easy to deal with. And then I got back here. And I got to tell you, it was probably about 40 degrees when I got here. It was a little rainy, but it was fairly warm. And then I look back, and my sister is telling me it's minus 23 up in Sheboygan. So, and down in Chicago, it's not going to be any better. And this, of course, the one thing we can't have is some kind of weird snafu because of the weather. The problem I have is not with the cold temperatures. I think the Packers are as equipped as anyone to handle that. The thing I do concern myself with a little bit is the wind. When I was up in Green Bay last week, the wind was swirling on Thursday. Thankfully, the wind wasn't there come Sunday afternoon. I hope the wind is not a problem with Aaron Rodgers. We're going to need to rely on Aaron Rodgers' arm to some extent. As you'll see later on in this video blog, I am hoping to run the freaking ball, to finally have this running game come around for real. We have been knocking on the door. They've been getting better and better, but we're going to need them to come around. Okay, so tomorrow will be Prediction Friday, and today we are going to talk about this matchup and what are the Packers going to have to do. That's the thing. And I think most of us would probably agree the Packers basically are going to have to just keep doing what they're doing. The other thing the Packers, I think, need to do is manage Aaron Rodgers' injury and somehow get out of this game without any additional injuries. We're getting a bit healthier, but we are still sort of teetering on the precipice where if the wrong guy gets hurt, we could have some major struggles down the road. Luke is asking about the Seahawks game. We'll pick that one up real quick. Do you think the Seahawks beat themselves? I think to some extent, Russell Wilson did not have a good game. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, but the Packers defense truly stepped it up in that game. They were very active. I think we had 13 hurries, 9 hits, and then you add the 3 sacks. You can't take anything away from our defense. And then, of course, our offense putting up 38 points on the team that led the league in points against. this is no fluke. This is who the Packers are moving forward. Now, I think that if you're going to push that question a little bit further, my next question would be, are the Cowboys and the Giants and perhaps in the AFC, the Patriots or the Chiefs or some of those teams, are they better than the Seahawks? And I would answer yes. I think the challenge against, for the Packers going forward, it's probably going to be, it may be the Seahawks again. But it may be those Cowboys, it may be the New York Giants, who we've shown we can beat, but they are turning it on and playing good ball right now. So that's the question I would have is, are the Seahawks a good touchstone for where the Packers want to be? But the Packers definitely played a good game. I was there. They were active. You had you got Dean Lowry in there. You got Jaron Elliott with a sack as well. I mean, this team, and then you just talk about the interceptions. I know a lot of them were off-tip balls, but they were off-tip balls. I mean, a couple of them, receivers look like a volleyball team out there setting to our defensive backs, but you can't take anything away. The Packers needed to get turnovers in bunches, and they did in that game. And we would like to see that continue in this Chicago game, would we not? I think I can get a little love for that because the Packers have a good opportunity. Matt Barkley hasn't been in. He's no Jay Cutler, which maybe means he won't throw the interceptions. I don't know. But Matt Barkley has been doing a reasonably good job. He's fairly good with the pre-snap reads. He's sort of middle of the pack. But I think if the Packers defense can get Matt Barkley and the Chicago Bears offense into third down and long, they are going to have opportunities against Barkley. Now, here's what Barkley has going for him. He's, Jordan Howard is no laughing matter at the running back position, and I think that's the game plan that the Chicago Bears are going to come into this game with. Number one, you've got the weather. Number two, you got Matt Barkley, who does not have a lot of experience and certainly is going to have a tough test against the Green Bay Packers defense. And number three, you got Howard, who has shown himself to be a better than average running back. I think he's, if I remember right, he's like second in the league. And that's no laughing matter for the Packers. However, you look at what do the Packers do right on defense? The Packers stop the run. This game is playing into the Packers' hands. We just need to not falter. We need to not take a step back in any regard. And frankly, we need to take a step forward in the special teams area because one of the knocks on the Seattle Seahawks game was the special teams. Jacob Shum, not good. He had one punt that he got out of bounds, and it ended up being a nice punt. But other than that, not good. So the special teams, the coverage units, in our return game wasn't much. Randall Cobb showed a little bit something 2 games ago, but against the Seahawks, not a whole lot. We need our special teams to continue to step up. However, this game, let's look at these matchups. You've got the Bears, who, yes, they're at home, but they've got a brand new quarterback, basically, a guy that's just sort of getting his feet wet. They've got who's serviceable. They've got a good running game, but our run defense is our strength, basically, even though our defensive backfield showed it could take the ball away in bunches last week. That's not our MO, so to speak. So I think the Chicago Bears are going to struggle. They're going to try to force it on the ground. If the Packers defense can keep the Chicago Bears in third and long situations and force the Bears to pass, if Barkley has to pass to win this game, I think the Packers win this one going away because number one, if you put it on Matt Barkley's arm, number one, you have the opportunity for the Packers to get turnovers, but not only that, but let's say the Bears score, like a 2-minute or a 3-minute drive, and they score because they've been able to throw the ball on a couple third and longs. Maybe you get a 3rd and 8, a 3rd and 10, something like that. Barkley's able to move them forward, and yes, they do score. Well, still, they have to deal with the Packers' offense and Aaron Rodgers right now. And the Packers' offense has been, this is one of the most interesting NFL offenses I have ever seen. And as I said yesterday, if I had one question I could ask Mike McCarthy, it would be this. Is the Packers' offense better because we lost Eddie Lacy and James Starks at the same time? If we hadn't lost James Starks and Eddie Lacy at the same time, I don't think we would have discovered Ty Montgomery as a running back. Not a Randall Cobb guy that you can put in the backfield from time to time, but as a running back. He has really turned it on. We've got a starting running back who used to be a wide receiver. Secondarily to that, we have Christine Michael, who, yes, he had a miscommunication in the Seattle Seahawks game, but when he got the play right, he ran the ball well in this game. Very serviceable, looked very good. And then add to that Aaron Ripkowski. I suggest that, and I know the game plan would seem to be obvious, right? You get that three-headed monster, and I do think it is a three-headed monster, not necessarily because any one of those guys is absolutely going to break one for a touchdown, but because when you put those three guys together, there's some synergy there. And the synergy comes from the fact that you don't know if Aaron Ripkowski is going to take the ball short up the middle with the quick handoff. You don't know if Christine Michael's going to be behind him, Ripkowski with the lead. Michael can do a lot with his feet. You don't know if Ty Montgomery is going to try to beat you to the edges, which he can. The three-headed monster that the Packers have in their offensive backfield now is that it is such a headache for the defense. They don't know what style to play. They don't know what their splits should be. They could be pressed to the outside and get beat. Even though Floyd, and I know the Bears have some good linebackers, they can run some people down, but Ty Montgomery is a different sort of people. And so it is a headache. And I would not want to be a defensive coordinator and saying, okay, here's how we're going to have to handle the Packers running game. Because then you've got to watch, because if they put Jeff Janis in, guess what they're going to do now? They're not going to hand the ball off to Janis. They're going to fake it to Janis, and they're going to have a quick punch with Ripkowski up the middle or something. You know, and I guarantee you this, watch the game. The next play, Janis goes in that sort of jet sweep spot. He's not going to get the ball. We're going to fake it. That's what we've been setting Jeff Janis and the jet sweep up for. So teams key on it. So this offensive backfield is a headache, and it comes from multiple positions. It comes from uncharacteristic players, and it comes from the creative mind of Mike McCarthy. You can say his play calling is vanilla all you want, but I don't know many coaches that would have come up with this kind, who would have pulled this kind of offensive backfield out of a hat after losing Eddie Lacy and James Starks for extended periods of time, having a revolving door at the running back position, and this is what we came up with. We came up with a better offensive backfield. So, Ty has shown his worthiness. Yes, Ty has shown, says Crystal, and that's for sure. And you know what? And the guy, like I said yesterday, the guy's so deadpan. He's such an intellectual, but you can tell he is having fun. All right? He is having fun. And so, that's what I guess what I was getting to, right? Is the obvious game plan is run the ball. Use these guys. Make it multiple. I, however, have a little different take on it, okay? And my take on it is going to put Aaron Rodgers at risk. You can angry face me on this right off the bat or heart me, whatever you want to do. But this team starts and finishes on offense with Aaron Rodgers right now. I know he's got the two injuries, and so I know the idea is to manage Aaron Rodgers. Aaron, be a pocket passer, but we are going to have to throw the ball. The Chicago Bears are going to expect us to force the ball in the run game, and their strength is their defensive line, even though I think they've had a few exits, and their linebacker position. They can get to our running backs. They're going to push the issue. We need to throw quick passes early over these guys and force them to back off a little bit. Once we do that, we are going to run all over the Chicago Bears. But if we try to force the run game right off the bat, it's going to depend on the wind to some extent, but if we try to force the run game right off the bat, we are looking at the situation where the Bears know that that's what we're trying to do. They're stacking the box for it, and we're playing into the strength of their defense, which is not a very strong defense. So why do that? Well, I know the one reason would be we've got to protect Aaron Rodgers, and he's not going to get hurt when he's handing off the ball, generally speaking, knock on wood. But I say we start out early, we throw over the pressure, we get some quick passes, but we keep Rodgers in the pocket where we're going to protect that leg. We're going to protect the calf. We're going to protect the hamstring, because one of my keys to this game, and I hate to say this to some extent, because I want to see us beat the living cuss out of the Chicago Bears. It's Bears hate week. However, if we sacrificed a few points and still won this game, I would like us to see Aaron Rodgers standing pat, head up, shoulders back, and delivering the ball early, and then us running this game out. I want to see us score early. Frankly, if we play the way we did on offense against the Seattle Seahawks, Aaron Rodgers will not play this full game, but it won't be because of injury. It will be because we will be putting in Brett Hundley. And that is my ideal scenario. But I do think if we're going to do that, we're going to have to score points early and often, and that starts with the passing over the pressure, and then mixing the run game in, but mixing it in a very multiple fashion. Another key to this game that I have, and you guys let me know how you feel about this, all right? I know Christine Michael had a snafu or two in this game against the Seattle Seahawks, but those are the easiest snafus to fix. It was a miscommunication. You sit down, you get it right, you memorize it, you get it for next time. I think Christine Michael has the chance, because of the way we've got Aaron Rodgers hurt, if we can throw early, get up in some points, we will have a chance to see what Christine Michael could do. This guy has improved every time we've put him on the field. Other than this miscommunication, he's had a couple weeks ago, he had a couple of runs. He was serviceable. Last week, he had a handful of runs, and he looked good. Then, of course, we had to, pull him because of the miscommunication. You got to be able to trust the guy. But that's what you fix this week. And is it not the perfect opportunity against the Chicago Bears? This is going to be, frankly, the easiest defense we'll face down the stretch. And I'm not sitting here saying it's going to be easy, because these Chicago Bears almost beat the Detroit Lions, who lead the division. So it's not going to be easy. But if you look at it relatively speaking, this is the perfect chance for the Packers to showcase Christine Michael and show the world that, yes, he has the playbook down. Number one, that's the most important thing. And yes, he can be a bell cow back. Because when you do that, you add to the conundrum that defensive coordinators have to deal with. And Sherry's asking, is Aaron playing Sunday? Oh, yes, Aaron will be playing Sunday. And Martin says, we need to play Michael. Christine Michael, I think in this game is the one where he gets to show himself to be a real player and a serious contender in that offensive backfield. And I think we need it, because it's just going to bode better and better and better for the Packers offense. If we can add a bell cow back, a guy that can hit you from anywhere, and you don't want him to get into space because he can beat you in space and he can turn on the jets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then, now you add to that Ty Montgomery, Ripkowski. Because I don't think we're going to see Aaron Rodgers as the running threat that he was, early on. We're going to need to keep him healthy. However, I think if we throw the quick pass early, and Aaron Rodgers is okay with saying, listen, for one game, I am going to be a pocket passer. I'm going to stand and deliver. Because what he's going to do by doing that, he's going to get a little bit ahead of this injury. And getting a little bit ahead of these injuries that he has is going to be absolutely critical. This team is not going to get any bye weeks. The only time this team will have a chance to get extra time is if, knock on wood again, if they go the distance. That's going to be the first opportunity they have for a break, is if, and it's a big if at this point, because we still have some very good teams in the way. We still need help from the Detroit Lions. That's all. But what I'm just saying, if that's the case, that's going to be the first chance that Aaron Rodgers has to get truly healthy or very close to it. Up until that point, he is going to be on a razor's edge, mark my words, and we saw it. And the hamstring injury, overcompensation for the hamstring could have been the cause for the calf injury. And like Edgar's saying, we cannot afford to have him injured, so we need to get ahead of this injury. And that, to me, says Aaron Rodgers. I know we've kind of tried to limit him a little bit against the Seahawks. We've play called to limit him. We need to have him as a pocket passer for 4 quarters and get the job done that way, and then run the ball. So that, to me, says maybe the score will not be as high as I think we are capable of putting on the Chicago Bears. Because where's their weakness on the defense? Their defensive backfield is atrocious. We can tear them up, but we can do it with Aaron Rodgers in the pocket. Stand and deliver. Stand and deliver. It's going to bode very well for us in this game. All right? Secure the game and rest number 12. That would be ideal, I think. And I'm not sure that's going to happen, Fidel, but I sure hope so. And if our defense can come up with turnovers the way we did against the Seahawks, then I think that is going to happen. So, but yeah, we've got a little bit to be concerned about with the Bears are, I would say, slightly better than their record. Not much, but slightly better. There are no excuses in this game. We know that. But the Bears have some weapons on offense. Of course, we know Alshon Jeffrey is coming back after his 4-game suspension. The question there is going to be, is the wind going to be a factor? Is the cold going to be a factor? He's got a new quarterback he's not as familiar with as he was with Jay Cutler, and he has not played in a month. So I believe that the Packers defense can handle Alshon Jeffrey. And if we do that, it's going to bode well for us as well. And Luke is asking about why we keep using Starks. I think Starks relegated his spot. I think we are finally seeing the transition take place. And that's part of the reason I want to see Christine Michael on the field early and often. Well, not early so much, but on the field early. I want to see us loosen up the middle and interior of the defense. And then I want to hammer these guys with Christine Michael. Let him go to town. You saw what he did against the Seahawks. But this, let's talk about the defense, all right? Because one of the guys, and I have to do a mea culpa on this. This is my fault because there were so many good things to talk about in the Seattle Seahawks game that I failed to mention. I would like everyone out there to give me a little bit of a heart. Not me, but give a heart for one of the guys I failed to mention yesterday, and that is Mike Daniels, who is an absolute freaking force to be reckoned with. He had been unbelievable all the way through the Cowboys game. Then there was a little bit of a drop-off, I thought. Who knows what's going on. Mike Daniels is a freaking beast. And I love the way the guy plays. I love his attitude. I've said this so many times, but I failed to mention it in a game in which he was absolutely unstoppable. And I don't think he had any sacks, but this guy is such a handful. And this is a guy that everybody said was too small to play in the NFL. Arms aren't long enough. And he just got out there and he punches people in the nose from start to finish. And I love watching him play. It's a 3-4 defense, folks. The 0-1 technique that they throw him in at the defensive end, excuse me, in a 3-4 defense is not exciting to watch. It's basically take up blockers. Not if you're Mike Daniels. Mike Daniels takes up the blockers, picks them up, and throws them into the quarterback. At times, this guy, I'm going to take a drink because I got a cough, a tickle in my throat, because I want to make this statement, because it's an important statement, and I might get booed for this one, to be quite honest. Nobody on this Packers team has ever reminded me of Reggie White more than Mike Daniels right now. And what I'm saying is not his sack ability, not his position, but what I'm saying is that once in a while, you see him do something that just doesn't seem humanly possible. And so, you can angry face me for that because I hate to, I would be very reticent to draw any comparison to Reggie White. And I'm making a very narrow comparison here. But I want it to be the biggest compliment I can make to Mike Daniels is that once in a while, you see Mike Daniels, and Mike Daniels is an interior guy. So where Reggie White can get doubled up, Mike Daniels can get doubled up and have a running back as well. And you see him pick up a guy and bash him through the running back while the double teamer can't keep up and almost get to the quarterback. It's freaking amazing what this guy does at times. And this is a guy who was too small to play in the NFL. And he dropped down the board. I'll tell you what, this is an Iowa player. These are gritty, tough, Midwestern football players. And that's what Mike Daniels is. And and yes, some people may hate that comparison. But what I want to say by that is I can't give any higher praise to a guy that once in a while, and I just want to see more and more and more of it. And frankly, I want to see it. It's starting to rub off on some of the other guys. Dean Lowry looking pretty good out there. I don't think Kenny Clark, I think Dean Lowry's playing better than Kenny Clark right now. I think Kenny Clark is kind of, he's a serviceable rotational guy. But we need this Mike Daniels guy to rub off on everybody. Another guy we need to rub off, I mentioned, was Clinton Dix, man. High-fiving everybody. You got the Mike Daniels, the straight up, I don't care. I am in a fight from start to finish. Don't talk to me. Shut up. You're on your butt, Mike Daniels. And then you got Clinton Dix, who is just out there. He makes play after play after play. He's a great safety. He didn't get a pick in the last game, which is a shocker because he is always the one that we can count on to get an interception. And he is out there smiling. He's out there high-fiving everybody, smacking helmets, and just looks like he's having fun. That tells me that this defense might be finding a very important balance going forward in the final 3 games of this season, all of which are NFC North rivalry games. The balance between having fun and kicking tail on defense could be very important for us. And I think the opportunity is there because we have seen consistency now. We've seen this is the 3rd game. Our 3rd game was our best one. Now we have to travel to Soldier Field. So it's not going to be a gimme by any stretch. No game in the NFL is. No game against an NFC North rivalry team is going to be a gimme. But this is an opportunity for our defense to continue to stay strong, to continue to make things happen, get those turnovers, to continue to get those sacks. Maybe we can protect Clay Matthews a little bit in this game. He turned it on too. Against the Seahawks, he was playing much better. I don't know if he was healthier or not, but I know he was playing better. If he can get ahead of his injury as well, it's going to bode well for us. So we'll see. The last thing we want is for the Packers to take a step back. I don't see it happening. I am feeling more and more confident in this Packers defense. Obviously, we still have some holes. Obviously, we still have that the injury situation is still with us, right? Packers signed inside linebacker Jordan Tripp from the Seattle Seahawks. This is a guy who bounced around. He had like 4 teams that he went to. However, his measurables are good. And basically, Tim says good morning. He's running late. We are talking about the matchup with the Chicago Bears and the fact that the Packers still have injury situation on defense. We have not been able to get Jake Ryan healthy. We have not been able to get Blake Martinez healthy. We signed Tripp, who I think, he's obviously a stopgap. He's not a guy that we're expecting a lot out of. However, he is an ILB, he does have some good measurables. He does have some experience in the league, okay? So if you look back, and I was thinking about this, if you look back to the, and I've mentioned it before, the 2010 run. You remember a linebacker named Frank Zombo who really was kind of a no-name, but the Packers needed him. He went in, he did some good things. He made some plays. He just sort of held down the fort when we needed him to. Tripp could be that guy by the time all is said and done. I mean, if we can't get Ryan back, if we can't get Martinez back, holy smokes. Just wait till the Cowboys or somebody like that with a great running, if you get a team that can, and this is what we've seen, if you get a team that can press our running game or that's absolutely fantastic like the Atlanta Falcons in the passing game, we're going to struggle. And it's going to be absolutely critical to get number one. I've said it the whole time. It's not Blake Martinez that we need back. It's Jake Ryan that we need back right now. Jake Ryan, Joe Thomas, we are going to be okay. Obviously, I want Blake Martinez back. He's having a good rookie year. He is no Jake Ryan right now. We need him. We are going to see him when Jake Ryan gets back. We're going to see our defense get back to where it needs to be in terms of stopping the run. And we're going to see then when we stop the run, we're going to see the pressure finally come back, which we've kind of saw again with 3. We're back to that 3 and 4 sack total, which is fantastic. And we're going to see then the defensive backfield, a little bit of pressure come off the defensive backfield. We still have that problem at ILB right now. And we're gonna hopefully get some help. We're going to hopefully get Jake Ryan healthy. Blake Martinez, he may be a little bit behind, but we'll see. The thing is, we've got to survive these next few games, and I think, and you can let me know what you think, but I think that this Packer team can win the next 3 games without these 2 ILBs that we really critically need. So maybe the best course is to let them get healthy, for crying out loud. I mean, I would hate to see us drop one because we can't stop the run. And really, when you look at this Bears team, the only thing they're going to really threaten us on is the run with Howard. They're going to make a few pass plays here and there, and I guess Alshon Jeffrey coming back, he's not going to be a difference maker, I don't think, unless we're not ready for him coming back or we don't pay attention. But this to me is the game we can afford to rest some players. And by rest the players, I mean, it's not like the coach is going to say, yeah, we're holding these guys out because we don't think we need them. However, if they can't go, I think we can survive. So we will see. The Packers, tomorrow's Prediction Friday, I'm going to be putting together my pick tonight. And part of the reason I'm going to be putting it together tonight, I think we need to put some thought into this one. The obvious thought would be the Packers are going to win going away, and this would be a blowout, et cetera, et cetera. And Jason is saying, survive, we're going to destroy them. No rest, light them up. I have a feeling that, I'm a little torn on this one because part of if I was an offensive coordinator, part of my game plan might not lend itself to quite as many points. Seattle Seahawks game, Aaron Rodgers rolls out and just lights him up with Devontae Adams right off the bat. And we kind of didn't look back from there. Plus, we had a lot of extra possessions in that game, and we still couldn't break the 40 barrier. So, number one, I am not thinking we're going to break the 40 barrier against the Bears. And I know some people are going to hit me with an angry face right now. So go ahead, because I know some of them. I saw one with 40 burger already. Do I think it's possible? Oh, absolutely. I think it's possible. We've got, predictions rolling in. Save them for tomorrow. Get loud, be proud, go Pack. And, of course, we are going to have tons of fans in the stands, right? Anybody out there going to be at this game? I mean, I know that a few of you out there are going to be at this game. You're going to brave the temperatures. It isn't going to matter to you. One of the people that's looking for these tickets that we have, coming from Alaska, going to fly in from Alaska, so the cold isn't going to bother that person at all. All right? So I would see this Packers team, I would love, and here's the thing I want. I mean, I do want this Packers. We saw them not break 30 for way too long. So my initial, if I was going to bracket this game, I would say, if I was game planning, it might not lend itself to a 40 burger. However, this team needs to say something. They need to break 30 against this team. They need to. All right? And David is saying, 33-3 would be good. And that is exactly right, because then you're seeing, look at what our defense has been able to do in the last 3 games. 13 points, 13 points, 10 points. The 10 points coming against the best team we played in that stretch, by far. They're not that good on the road, but they're the best team we played in that stretch. Now we play the Bears. This is our chance for the defense to wreak havoc. And honestly, if you want to talk, okay, I saw that angry faces come across. All of those who hated on me for saying we're not going to drop a 40 burger, what about, I would totally agree that there is a chance that the Packers get a pick 6 in this game. If they can force the Bears into 3rd and long, there's a chance that the Packers defense, I mean, look at what Morgan Burnett was almost able to do against the Seahawks. There's a chance we might get a pick 6 in this game. If the Packers defense starts getting these interceptions in droves, we may drop that 40 burger. Okay? I'm not saying it is not possible. It is possible by any stretch of the imagination. What I'm saying is, if I were game planning, my game plan might not lend to quite as many points, because still, especially in the wind, in the cold, I might be still wanting to play a little bit of a possession game. This is the game that I wanted to play against the Seahawks, and the Packers offense just went out there and said, nah, we're going to open it up. We're going to light it up, because once Aaron Rodgers gets in a rhythm, he's unstoppable. And so, hey, I hope we do it. But I've got this team, I'll talk about it tomorrow. All right? What are your keys to the game, folks? What are your keys to the game Sunday against the Bears? Let me know what your keys to the game is. Obviously, we can probably take some right off the top. It's Aaron Rodgers playing well and staying healthy. I think on defense, it's continuing to get the pressure that we finally seen come back. We didn't get, I think we had the 3 sacks in that game. Tim is here, Virginia high. Virginia is doing smack talk on Fire Fan. She's ready to top the leaderboard. All right, we're having a blast with that. Sherry says we got this. Gary, the trio of running backs may be key to this. If that's your key to the game, I would agree with that. I do think it could be extremely important, especially if the wind kicks up, because even Aaron Rodgers, when the wind at Windy City, it can be really bad. Okay, we got a shutout called by somebody. Edgar is saying turnovers are going to be key. I agree. I mean, I really want to see this team. I want to see the way the turnovers came in the Seahawks game. Frankly, like I said yesterday, we were looking at ourselves saying, am I really seeing this happen in front of me at Lambeau Field down there? I want to see us get out there and continue this streak with the 2 turnovers at least. We had 1 and 1, and then we had 6 with 5 interceptions. Craziness. I think, and Virginia's mentioning the Soldier Field. It's a crappy field, frankly. It's a bad field. So again, that gives you a little bit of pause in terms of injury. Then if the running game can play out, maybe we don't get some wide receivers hurt. But I think the key to the game on offense, again, is going to be Aaron Rodgers being willing and mentally able. He's mentally able. We saw that when he hurt his calf a couple years ago. But being willing to limit himself and maybe even take a bad play, but just stand and deliver the ball. Stay healthy. Get ahead of this injury. These injuries, there's more than one. And Ray is saying you can't hold the ball for 3 and 4 seconds. Yeah, get the ball out. When Aaron Rodgers is devastating inside that 3-second range, let's get it out. Make quick decisions. Great point. And then on defense, continue to get the pressure, because I think the key to getting the interceptions and the turnovers is the pressure. Julius Peppers with a strip sack fumble. He's dangerous that way. So not only the interceptions on the backside of it, but possibly fumbles. When you get pressure in cold weather, the ball is hard to hang on to. It's cold. It's hard. So I think those are my 2 keys. If we do that, then I think all the dominoes start to fall in place. And Peter is making a great point. I'm glad you mentioned this because I was just going to talk about it. Peter says O-line is key to allow Aaron to throw those TDs. And I have got to once again give a shout out to our offensive line, who is just playing magnificently right now. And the Bears, they got Leonard Floyd. They've got some guys that can put some pressure on. They're going to be a challenge. They're going to be yet another challenge for these guys. And I think this offensive line is up to the challenge right now. I think this offensive line I am so grateful to have TJ Lang gutting it out, and now hopefully with another week to maybe feel a little better. He's another guy that if he could get ahead of the injury and really start to feel better down the stretch, it is going to make a world of difference for us on the offensive line. And Gary's saying best line in the NFL. I'd take him over anybody right now. I know Pro Football Focus would have some guys ranked a little higher. I take these guys over anybody right now. Weston is saying, I think we can even win with our number 2 quarterback in. I would love to see Brett Hundley get some reps back there like he did against the Seattle Seahawks, not because Aaron Rodgers is dinged up, but because we are so far ahead that the game is in hand. And we know that the defense behind him, if he falters, can handle things. Alejandro is asking, will Ty have a good game? I think he will. It's a great question because I'm a little bit torn on this one because we kind of know what we have in Ty Montgomery, and I'd kind of like to keep him a little bit close to the vest in this game, to be honest, because, again, you got the Vikings and then Detroit after that. I wouldn't mind playing Ty a little close to the vest and seeing what we can get out of Christian Michael in this game so that the next 2 games, defensive coordinators have to sit there and go, okay, now we know Christian Michael can gash us up the middle. Oh, but also Ty Montgomery, we've seen what he can do, but we haven't seen him recently. And then we can release the hounds, so to speak, in the final 2 games of the season and just gash these guys side to side, up the middle, A gap, B gap, inside zone, outside zone, jet sweep, everything we can unleash the hounds at that point. And that's the way I would like to see it come about. And that, again, that sort of game plan possibly lends itself to a somewhat lower scoring game on the Packers side. All right. Jeff is here. Extreme cold affects mental, so be prepared. It's how you feel when the cold bites your face. The cold can be daunting. However, neither one of these teams, I think, is going to be mentally affected by it very much. Although Morgan Burnett got on and said, you know, I'm a Southern boy. It's always cold for me. It's always daunting. But he's the kind of guy, and his point was, listen, you just got to go out there and do what you need to do to stay warm enough and to play well. That's what you got to do. So, yeah, we've got a lot of people out there wanting to see this game give an opportunity for Brett Hundley to come in. I feel like that's too much. I feel like something bad, if I even think that and put it out in the cosmos, something bad is going to happen. However, of course, that would be absolutely ideal at this point. Absolutely ideal. That helps Aaron Rodgers get ahead of the injury. If he is playing in the pocket, getting the ball out inside of that 3 seconds, like was Matt mentioned, that's ideal situation, idyllic situation, but the weather is not going to be ideal, and I do think the weather could play a factor in this one, particularly the wind. Obviously, it's going to be very cold. This could be the coldest game ever played in Chicago. We will keep an eye on that, and hopefully the Packers can do enough to get a big win against the Chicago Bears. Again, the Bears coverage unit is a weakness. Aaron Rodgers is a strength. This is going to be a good game, folks. And how about this? Just in closing, let's do a little. Let's get you guys involved in the conversation on a little bit of a different topic, but one that plays definitely directly to the Packers' chances. Detroit loses. If you think Detroit loses this week, just put a little heart or thumbs up there as we close the show. I just want to talk about this because Detroit at home could barely beat the Chicago Bears. So which, number one, says we cannot afford to look stupid in any phase of the game against the Bears. We have to be dominant in all phases, or else it's going to be pathetic. But Detroit loses, guys. Give me a little response, a little heart, little thumbs up. This means that everything opens up for the Packers at this point. And with everything that they did to hurt themselves in the losing streak, and we were talking about that before the losing streak came around, how the Packers have their hand on the wheel. And they lost that. With the Detroit has been doing the job. If Detroit fails to do the job or finally gets exposed for who they are, which is what I think is going to happen, then the Packers once again have their hand on the wheel. How cool is that? And I can't wait. I think they're both 1 o'clock games, but I will likely be switching back. I'll have the Packers on the big screen. I may have the Lions on the computer over here just so I can peek at that game. But if nothing else, and Anthony is saying Detroit could lose out. I am right with you there, Anthony. I think they could go 0-3 and go home by the time all is said and done. How great would that be? I mean, that would be awesome. Okay. Of course, the number one thing is for the Packers to do their business against the Bears. We can't afford. I mean, if the Bears took the Lions down to the wire, the last thing we want is for them to do that. And Bob is saying the only way they'll win is if Peyton Manning, Walter Payton plays. The name Peyton just threw me for a second there. This is a Peyton from a long time ago. Walter Payton, the sweetness. Yeah, he'd have to come back from the grave. All right, let's let Detroit fizzle out. Let's let the Packers are on the rise. Packers are on the rise. They're hitting their stride at the right time. Packers are on the rise, man. I can't wait to see this game. I can't wait to see. The concern I have, of course, is the injury situation, but I can't wait to see this game. This Packer team is getting really exciting at the right time, and if we can get healthy, I truly believe the sky is the limit for this Packers team. All right. Well, folks, I'm going to let it go at that. We do have our final Fire Fan game of the Packer Domination League. If you haven't downloaded Fire Fan from the App Store, go get it. It's fun. Virginia was smack talking already today on the comment stream. I missed a game, so I have lost some ground. I am going to have to get on and play hard. It is the most fun. It's the first time you ever get a chance to play live, and you get the chance to play with your team. No picking other teams' players. You get to play live. You get to play with your team. You play one-handed. You don't even have to put your beer down. Once you get the hang of it, this is so fun. And that leaderboard is smoking hot right now. All right? The new league will start Sunday with this Packer game. So, everybody who has an idea for the name of our new league to play for the Precious, which is still packed, because I took it to Lambeau Field. Everybody who has an idea for the new league name, put it in the comments right now. I'm going to go through those. We'll pick one. You guys name it. Sunday it starts, and we're playing for the Precious Our League trophy, which is a really nice, heavy Green Bay Packer ring that you will get to put on your desk if you win, okay? So, let me know what your idea for the league is. We will be playing tonight. Tonight is the last Packer domination game. I may win a few other games just for fun, but we are going to definitely be switching over to league play for the Precious for our trophy. So get on and do that. We'll be playing every Packer game plus a bunch of bonus games, and all the playoff games are going to be in there. So if you haven't done it, now's the time. It's FireFan. You just get on there, your app store, and put in the promo code GETTHERING. It will ask you a few questions about your favorite sport, etc., etc., etc. And we will play. We're having a good time. All right? Well, folks, you have a great day. It's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. We got some football tonight. Get on FireFan. Play the league. I want to see this league grow. We want to be the freaking viral Packer league out there. So share it with your friends and have fun. Do a little smack talking and win. All right? And I will talk to you tomorrow. Same pack time, same pack place. Go Pack.